Whoa. Okay, looks like I'm live. How's everyone? I'm waiting for people to join us here. It doesn't look like we have many people taking a look, but it's okay because I'm going to record this, I'm going to post it, and everybody else could look at their leisure later. And I know it's been a while since I posted a video. Haven't done anything throughout all of COVID. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's surviving. I'm still alive. The lighting in here fucking sucks right now. Don't worry about that. We're going to unpack something right now that was the #1 trend in Twitter for the past 24 hours, almost 48 hours now, since Wednesday morning-ish. And that's AOC's reaction to the Capitol Hill riots and what it actually means to all of us to talk about this. So for those of you who didn't know, AOC was tweeting out things and saying something along the lines of, oh, I have this amazing story about surviving the riots. I just got out of there with my life. Oh my God, I survived these riots. Okay, that's wonderful. Can't wait to hear your harrowing tale. Now, like most of you, I don't know where everybody is. I don't know, okay, what congressman was where when, the whole siege of the Capitol happened on January 6th. So what happened was a bunch of people went into the Capitol, and AOC was the most dramatic voice of them all. I think that goes without saying, right? AOC was typically, let me fix my stupid orange headphones for a second. AOC was her typical dramatic self throughout this, saying, oh my God, oh, you won't believe it. So she goes on live stream the other day, and she starts to tell her harrowing story about, oh, the people were coming, and I can't believe it, and oh, can you believe what they did, and I feared for my life on that day, and all this other stuff. I was lucky to be alive. I thought I was going to die that day. We heard all this, and here's the thing. When you're in the middle of a riot or a rally or something, who am I to judge, right? Maybe you did fear for your life. And we're hearing all this about how people were coming down the hall and this and that. And she goes on, and in the middle of her explanation, she says something along the lines of, and by the way, I was afraid no one would believe me, which is why it took me this long to get it out, because I'm a rape survivor. Dun dun. Doesn't name a time, doesn't name a place, doesn't name a person who did it. We don't know if this actually happened, because there's a lot of things in AOC's past that we don't know actually happened, and this is just another one of those times where now we have to sit around going like, did AOC just out of nowhere tell us all that she was raped and then not go into detail? And then if you go, can you expand on this, please? Were you raped? Like, what happened? Then it's, how dare you ask me a personal question? It's like, well, you're the motherfucker who brought it up. I don't give a shit. I don't care if something horrible happened to you. Oh, okay, that's fine. But you can't just use that as a, you're not allowed to criticize me. You're not allowed to say anything about me because I was raped. I was sexually assaulted. I'm a survivor. And there's enough hoaxes and people out there now who aren't really survivors. People who go out there and say, basically, some guy tricked them, said, I love you, didn't call him back the next day, and they go, I too am a rape survivor. I slept with that guy too fast. And it's like, well, that's not rape. He didn't force you. Yes, but he told me he loved me, and then he didn't call me back the next day. It's like, I don't know. Some of these women drift into creepy stalker territory where they're just like out to get some dude. So, with all that being said, she goes on to tell everybody that she's a rape survivor. All right. Now, this is a woman who said a couple weeks ago that Ted Cruz tried to have her killed. She's so dramatic. She's so an emotional, dramatic volcano that is AOC. Okay, great. She gets into her story. She talks about, oh, scared for my life, thought it was going to be my last day on earth, this, that, the third. Well, then her colleague, another Democrat, by the way, says some other story about, well, yeah, I was there with her. No one was in the hallway. AOC came into my office, started going through cabinets and stuff without saying a word. And I said, what are you doing? And Ocasio-Cortez said to her, well, I'm looking for a place to hide so we could survive this, despite the fact that nobody's in the building. So she goes, oh, okay, don't worry. I'm a mom. I have provisions here and we'll be okay. And Ocasio-Cortez, the sweetheart of the Democratic Socialist left, goes, I hope one day I could be a mom. Dramatically. Oh, my goodness. Oh, today might be your last day on earth. It's so horrible, this and that. So she puts that out there. And before you know it, wouldn't you know who won the pony? Turns out nobody was in the actual office building that her office is located in. Protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call them, weren't in that building. Other Congress people were confirming this. Then Jack Posobiec goes on Twitter and actually posts a map of where her building is and the Capitol that actually got stormed by protesters that day on January 6th. So, question is, why did she say that? Why did she feel like she needed to put herself at the center of all this? And, oh, we all know they wanted to kill me. I didn't think I was going to survive this. I'm coming, Elizabeth. I'm the victim here. My God, my God. And it's like, yeah, okay. But you're lying. And now on Twitter, Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett is trending as, of course, an allusion to Jussie Smollett, who hate crime hoaxed himself, put himself at the center of this. Brian Williams also comes to mind for me. I don't know. List other hoaxes below if you so dare. But Brian Williams also comes to mind of saying, oh, yes, we were being shot down by rockets in a helicopter, and it turns out he was nowhere near rocket fire. Hillary Clinton also comes to mind where she says, we ducked to avoid sniper fire and ran in Bosnia when we landed, and it turns out there were no snipers where the first lady at the time landed. That was also just a bunch of fucking nonsense. So Jack Posobiec and AOC end up going at it on Ben Shapiro wants to debate her. Yeah. She said, I don't respond to catcalling. And yeah, of course. Ben Shapiro said, I want to debate you. Thank you for that. And she goes, I don't respond to catcalling. Keep in mind, this is also the same woman who sat in front of a fence by a parking lot in the desert at the border and did... the children did all these weird dramatic poses in front of this fence, claiming that like she was looking beyond at the kids in cages, like, oh, if only I could get you out. And it turns out it was a parking lot, an empty parking lot. No one was behind this chicken wire fence that they had up at the border. So she has a history of sort of twisting things dramatically and lying and claiming and accusing people of catcalling her, accusing people of, oh, you're doing this to me. So I don't know. I hate to not believe all women for a minute, but she's one of those dramatic types. And also keep in mind, I mean, I guess technically she's a congresswoman because she got the votes. She's a fucking bartender. Can we just say that? Can we say that? She's a fucking bartender, and let's leave it at that. She's a bartender. Have you ever met a bartender from the Bronx? They could be a little dramatic sometimes. I'm sorry. They can be. This just happens to be one who like somehow was cute enough to sneak into Congress. That's how I see her. I see her as a bartender. She doesn't know about fucking law. She doesn't know any more than I do. She doesn't know any more than you do. She doesn't know any more than anyone else seems to know about law or government or anything, because all her bullshit is just this pie-in-the-sky nonsense that surrounds idealism and, oh, democratic socialism and liberalism. So she gets called out. Jack Posobiec posts a map. Says, your office is here, the Capitol's here. You're 0.3 miles from it or something like that. And she just starts firing, how dare you question me, and how dare you do this, and how dare you do that. So, okay, that's the background. That's me laying it out of what actually happened. But this is my comments on it. These are my thoughts on what happened. This is a person who, I guess everybody has a short-ass memory. Everybody has a very short memory when it comes to the history of the United States. But I'm smart enough to remember that in the last year, there seemed to be some other riots going on, wasn't there? There seemed to be other buildings being broken into, being seized. And I'm trying to think, because, it's being reported in the media that the Capitol Hill riot was the worst day in American history. Forget 9/11, forget Pearl Harbor, forget Gettysburg, forget everything. No, 9/11 was the worst day in American history. The Capitol Hill riots was the worst day in American history. Okay, they broke some windows. People did die in the riot, which is horrible. A police officer died. A woman was shot. 3 other people were trampled. Horrible, horrible stuff. Nobody would wish that on anybody, and I certainly wouldn't. And it, didn't make me feel good to hear all that. But my question is, when she was supporting all the other rioters, I kind of feel like people like AOC fucking eat it up. They love to sit there and go, oh, the people have spoken when their people are attacking Rand Paul, when their people are attacking other people, when their people are seizing Portland courthouses, when their people are quartering off sections of city in Seattle. They love to sit there and go, well, that's the people taking it back, I guess. Mm-hmm. The people have risen once again. Okay, so it's the people. And they always seem to forget that there are other people. And when Rand Paul gets surrounded and harangued, I didn't see many Democrats come out and say, hey, this Antifa Black Lives Matter thing needs to stop. You can't be surrounding elected officials and doing this. You can't be bullying and harassing elected officials. Maxine Waters outwardly encouraged it. Said, surround them, create a crowd, find them in a gas station or restaurant. Maxine Waters, an elected representative, said, do this to my colleagues. Do this to fellow politicians if they don't agree with me. But what these people never see is that someday the other people might come after you. And that seems to be what happened here. And it's funny because there was an event. Oh, I'm trying to remember the name of it in September. It was a Black Lives Matter hosted event that Antifa was a heavy presence out. What was the name of that event? Can anyone name that event? Oh, yes, I remember. It was called Seize the White House. Seize the White House. Get them. It should have just been called Get them. It was, hey, let's go to the White House. Let's stand around by Donald Trump. And let's try and physically enter the White House. That happened in September, and that was a progressive crowd with thousands of people. Oh, and by the way, small detail, 60 Secret Service agents were injured during Seize the White House. Dozens and dozens of people were arrested. Oh, catch and release as usual, because we all know who runs D.C. But Seize the White House happened in September. Did AOC come out and say, man, this is terrible. He's an elected official. He's still the president. I don't want to see anybody put in harm's way like that? No. She didn't say that. Matter of fact, she was tweeting things throughout the protest along the lines of how protests are the voice of the unheard. And if you feel uncomfortable, well, that's just too bad, because that's the whole point of the protest, is the people are going to make you feel uncomfortable. That's very interesting. Well, it seems to me that our poor little AOC, the love of my life, by the way, I think she's fucking gorgeous. I just don't want her running anything. I would take her out. I would bang her. I just don't want her writing legislation. Like if she showed me the Green New Deal and I was dating her, I'd be sitting on the couch going, oh, that's great, baby. You did this all by yourself? It's phenomenal. Yeah, I just hand it back to her. She is a dunce to the highest degree. Cute face. Dunce. And she talked about how my life was in danger. I felt so horrible. I was trapped. Witnesses are saying she's going through cabinets and almost catatonic, talking about maybe I'll never get to become a mother and all this other dramatic bullshit. My question is, because don't you have to be a complete fucking sociopath to see how this won't backfire on you? Don't you have to, when you support a movement like Black Lives Matter, and make no bones about it, it's a mainstream movement. This isn't something that's some underground thing that people aren't really supporting, politicians aren't really talking about. It's like they renamed Lafayette Square Black Lives Matter Plaza in DC after they tried to burn down St. John's Church. This is mainstream. This is acceptable. They painted a mural outside of Trump Tower on 6th Avenue in New York. This is something that's being endorsed by cities, endorsed by left-wing politicians, endorsed by Democrats, endorsed by AOC. And she loves it. She sits around going, oh, isn't it great? The voice of the unheard. And oh, they make you uncomfortable? Well, that's too bad, Mr. Man. Oh, I guess you're not so tough. They made fun of Trump when they did the Seize the White House demonstration for having security put him in a bunker. Or security actually probably said, Mr. President, you have to go in a bunker. It's not safe here. And he went into a bunker in the White House. Then they made fun of him again after they tried to burn down St. John's Church, and Donald Trump came out and held a Bible up and basically said, hey, we're not going to be intimidated by you. We're not going to back down. And it went wide. They called it a photo op in every newspaper you could say, in every left-wing newspaper. It's a photo op. Donald Trump posed for a photo op. Donald Trump. Now keep in mind, when they're kneeling wearing African scarves and 3, 4, 5, 6 masks, a box of masks is now on everybody's face. But when they do that, that's on a photo op. But Donald Trump, after they try to burn down a historic church in D.C., holds up a Bible and says, we're not going to be defeated, and you're not going to scare us, and I'm the president. I'm standing in front of a church holding a Bible, and they go, look at what a pandering fool he is. Oh, he hid in a bunker. Did you hear he hid in the bunker? He was cowering. Oh, he was probably so scared. They were jizzing in their pants over the thought that Trump might be scared of thousands of people outside. He's the president. At the end of the day, I'm pretty sure he's going to be okay. But they were like fantasizing about this cowering Donald Trump going, oh my God, they're going to get me. And they're laughing and go, yeah, the people are coming after you, Donald Trump. Well, AOC, what happens? And I'm not condoning the Capitol Hill riots. I think it was stupid. I think it was counterproductive. I think it was something that set back the MAGA thing, and no one heard you. And as usual with most of the MAGA stuff that goes wrong, they put all the clowns up front. And when you put all the clowns up front, don't be surprised when people just start laughing at you and nothing gets done. So with that being said, some frustrated people with some questions about the election did the wrong thing. But my God, did they decide, hey, you know what? We saw riots for the last year. What if we riot? What if we and by the way, we're not going to riot in neighborhoods. We're not going to riot in residential areas. We're not going to hurt small business owners or random people in the street. We want to go after the politicians specifically. And my God, my question is, when AOC was going through all those cabinets in her coworker's office, what was she thinking? Do you think she had a fleeting thought for a moment where she said, holy shit, they're coming after me. Holy shit, I built this. Holy shit, I told people to go out and protest, voice of the unheard, make people uncomfortable. And the second she gets a little uncomfortable, oh, they tried to kill me. It was the worst day in history. Do you think she's a complete sociopath? Do you think she had a fleeting instant of a thought? Do you think any of these, because I've talked to a lot of liberal friends since the Capitol Hill thing went down, and it's so funny to me. They all are going, can you believe they did this? And I'm going, you were the people supporting Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is in like Sprite commercials now. You can't turn on your streaming service without seeing like Black voices, Black movies, Black Lives Matter movies, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I don't know. Okay, like, do what you want with your company, but you don't see the damage that's being caused. You don't know that dozens of people died. I actually said this to a friend of mine. I'm like, dozens of people have been killed in these riots by Black Lives Matter. He said, no, that would have been in the news. I said, I have their names. I can show you who they. No, that's a bunch of bullshit. Not one person died. I'm like, not one. David Dorn didn't die. He didn't die. No. What about in the Chaz? I think there was 4 people who died and, if I'm not mistaken, 6 or 7 who were shot altogether in the Chaz. No, that was the Summer of Love. That was mostly peaceful. And again, I don't understand. I cannot fucking fathom. I just want to know that some of these people who act like these automatons. Okay. Somebody write that fucking word down there. You know what I'm trying to say. I can't fathom that some of these people actually sit there and go, or don't sit there and go, holy shit, I did this. Holy shit, I told them to go after Trump. I told when Rand Paul, they went after him. When they went after other people, when they went after regular conservatives, when they went after Oath Keepers, 3%ers, Proud Boys, and just maligned them all as racist and lumped them all in with white supremacists and whatnot. When they did all that, and said, go get them. They're bad people. You could get them. You could punch them. You could kill them. It doesn't matter. In Portland, when the guy from Patriot Prayer was shot, was assassinated in the street, not one Democrat spoke out. Not one Democrat said this has gone too far. Not one endorsement was dropped by Black Lives Matter. Sprite didn't stop running the Black Lives Matter commercials, right? Right? Did we all see those? Sprite didn't stop running those commercials. Netflix didn't say, okay, maybe we shouldn't have the section that caters. And listen, I don't care if you want to have a section in anything caters to black movies. If you have a audience for that, that's great. But when you're doing it specifically to support Black Lives Matter, does anyone say, hey, maybe we got to stop supporting that movement? Like, yes, of course, Black Lives Matter, but the movement of Black Lives Matter, especially being connected to a terrorist group like Antifa, where people are dying, where people are fucking dying in the streets through these riots, and they're being endorsed by politicians who are turning the other way and going, we have a guy who they tell me is the president now. I'm not even sure he knows where he is, but here's a guy who said in a presidential debate, Antifa doesn't exist. They're an idea. There is no Antifa. It's just an idea. And it's like, I don't know. I've been in some of these crowds. I've been spit on by that idea, by the way. I've been punched by that idea. I've had to fight that idea in the street. I've been surrounded by that idea. I've had my car boxed in by that idea. So who are these masked ideas that pop out of nowhere? And once again, does AOC, for a moment, did AOC think to herself, I fucked up? Oh my God. Because I'll tell you what I think the thought, subconsciously or not, that was going through her head was, those people, when they get to me, after all the shit I did and all the shit I said, in her very short life as a congresswoman or a public figure even, I think she thought they're going to treat me as bad as I treat them. They're going to do to me what I would have done to them if I had my way. That's what I think she was thinking. That's what I think made her so scared and go, maybe I'll never be a mom. I'll be killed before that, despite the fact that no one was in her building. And keep in mind, like most sociopaths, she lies, over-dramatizes, and then doubles down. She's still saying, oh my God, my life was under all this horrible threat, despite not seeing anything that day from all witness accounts. Everyone who was there with her was like, well, nothing was happening where we were. We were in a whole other building. And down to, keep in mind, they suddenly supported the police when they were like, oh, the police were trying to stop the MAGA people at Capitol Hill. So now we support the police. Okay, that's great. Well, the cop came into AOC's office to say, hey, we're going to get you to where the other legislators are to keep you safe. And she said, he had hate in his eyes. What the fuck? And she said that she didn't know if he was going to mislead her and was setting her up. Like the cops are in on this. And if you want to talk about when they say that conservatives have conspiracy theories, and I'll tell you right now, there are plenty of conservatives who have some crazy ass conspiracy theories that I totally disagree with. Just because I'm a conservative doesn't mean I have to agree with everything you fucking say. Right? I could still call out bullshit for being bullshit. But when they want to talk about conspiracies, and when you see a cop in the middle of a riot who comes in to go, Miss Congresswoman, I'm here to help. And you go, hate is in his eyes. And it's like, well, yeah, he probably just got outside where he saw a bunch of people, like a few thousand people rioting. And they go, oh, no, this man was piping hot with hate. He was filled with hate, and I didn't know if he was going to set me up that day. That's an indictment on police. It's an indictment on somebody who's helping you, and it's an indictment on somebody who actually helped you, who didn't set you up, who didn't walk you to a crowd and go, she's right here. Because in her, the movie that goes on in her brain is this police officer walks them into the MAGA crowd because, hey, cops support Trump and Trump supporters support cops, except for on January 6th where they fucked up royally. But in her fantasy world, she's going, oh my God, they're about to feed me to the wolves. They're about to take me outside. This is, if you read between the lines of what she said, it's very telling. And she is fucking not all I can think. I almost feel bad for her. And probably I feel bad for her because she's kind of cute. But I almost feel bad for her in the fact that she doesn't belong in fucking office. Like, for her to say, like, oh, when people go to destroy and seize the White House, that Donald Trump, oh, he's cowering, and, and her to sit there and laugh, and, oh, he was in the bunker, and the people came to his house. Well, what happens when the people come after you? When you want to encourage mob violence and mob rule and say, if a mob comes after you, that's all it takes. All it takes is a mob to go. Hold on. Do I have a mic in this? I don't even think the headphones are working right, so I'm going to take them off so I don't look fucking like Michael Dukakis on the floor of the Democratic National Convention. But when you're saying, let me turn this. So when you're saying that, this, when AOC is saying that this mob is coming after you, it's like, well, you're the one who's been endorsing the mob the entire time. Haven't you been? Is that untrue? Have you not been saying that Black Lives Matter, the voice of the unheard? Have you not been saying Antifa? Well, that's just the people, and that's just what they do. And it's like, yeah, and when the people come after you, you're terrified. And the reason she was terrified, in my mind, she's younger. She's more connected to the people on the ground. She hasn't been in politics that long, and she knows the truth of what her people would do if they caught, forget Donald Trump, if they caught a guy in a red hat isolated by himself. And my God, I have stories. I know people. I know a guy who was taking a leak in a urinal and I think he was wearing either a Proud Boy shirt, and this was 3 years ago or something like that. And literally 3 people came in, smashed his head into the urinal, beat the crap out of him, ripped his shirt off of him. And it turned out the bartender called her friends because she said, oh, I saw a guy in a Proud Boy shirt. So, she told a bunch of thugs to go trap him in a bathroom, and he could have been killed. He could have had brain damage forever. Andy No, for the most part, Andy No was a pretty liberal guy. He's like a gay Asian guy. Who just started fairly covering all this carnage and all these riots that have been going on. And Andy No has permanent brain damage, if I'm to understand that correctly. Because if these people even perceive you're not fully invested on their side, yes, hypocrisy is the order of the day. If they even perceive that you're not 100% on their side, they want you dead. Do you understand that? Does everyone understand that? That the people in the progressive mob want you dead. And it doesn't, if you go, but I'm not even conservative. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yes, you are. Yeah, and this is what I tell all my friends who are like, I'm not even really conservative, though. I go, oh, yeah? Are you for banning all guns? And they go, no, I'm not for that. I like guns. It's like, right, then you know what that means? It means you're conservative. Because the way that the terms are now defined by everybody, it has nothing to do with how you feel about taxes or this, that, the third. It has everything to do with, if you don't go with us policy for policy, if you don't fucking believe in every bullshit thing that we have to say, you're not one of us, and that makes you not just conservative. Because conservative to them means alt-right, it means Nazi, it means fascist, it means all those things just mean jerk. It just means someone I don't like. And, they don't understand any nuance and argument. They've been in the juice so long. They've been in their bubble for so long that you can't sit there and go, hold on. But I'm a business owner, and if they raise taxes by 5%, I'm screwed. If they double the minimum wage, I have to fire 3 of my workers. That means that I'm going to be less productive. It means I could go out of business. The only people that can afford this are Amazon and Walmart, and they just go, don't care, deal with it, motherfucker. And it's like, yeah, but you're hurting small business. You're hurting regular people. You understand that, right? Like the only thing that'll be left are huge multi-billion-dollar corporations. You understand that, right? They don't want to hear it. If you say, well, yeah, I'm for guns, I'm for the Constitution, I'm for free speech, and yeah, I don't agree with really heinous ideas like neo-Nazis or fascists or, pick your poison, or communists for that matter. I don't agree with any of those ideas, but I'm also not the guy who is going to shut down everything I don't like. And I think that those people can say what they want. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sit here. I'm going to say what I want. I'll argue against them when the time comes. No. We have to shut them up forever. It is fucking shocking. If you're not floored by this bullshit, I don't know what the fuck to do with you. Because it's shocking that thought, when she's trapped inside her building and going, or whatever, she's being well protected inside an empty office essentially, and she's sitting there going, they're coming for me. Holy shit, this backfired. It's like the reason why I think she's being this hysterical and dramatic, not just because she's a liberal and they run on emotion. She's doing this because I truly think that she believes that this would have never happened to her, that the people are on my side. Look at them burning cities. Those are my people out there. They love me. Well, there's a whole other group of people out there, and they don't really burn cities because most of them have fucking jobs, and most of them don't want to see all this fucking destruction. Yeah, hate speech is under a huge umbrella by design. You're right, Jimmy Z. Thank you. It's true. They call it hate speech because it's just vague enough where it could be anything. Like anything they don't like, if they don't like what you're saying, it's now hate. It's like, well, no. And I remember being told that, I think the first time I was kicked off of Facebook. Like, well, this was a hate post or whatever. And I'm like, what was hate? And whatever was in it was pretty innocuous, so I was surprised. I was like, what's in it that's hateful? You hate. You're a hate figure. I'm like, I hate? That hate is an emotion, isn't it? Like, and I'm not hating anyone. I didn't say anything about anyone's race or, creed or sexual orientation. I didn't say a fucking word about it. I said something about politics. I was probably saying something pro-Trump. And they went, no, this is hate. You are spreading hate. Well, can I go to somebody and ask them to demonstrate that to me? No, there is nobody. No, there's nobody on Facebook who can help me out. Nobody on Twitter. No, you're multi-billion-dollar companies, biggest companies in the world, bigger than the fucking Roman Empire. Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Twitter are bigger and more powerful than the Roman Empire, and it has nothing to do with government. The only thing it has to do with government are where they lie on the spectrum, and the government people who suck up to them, government people like AOC, because there's more to that story. AOC then went out because the hashtag Alexandria Ocasio-Smollett started trending. So she put out a email blast to her followers that said, if you see people saying this and calling me this and using these hashtags, also the hashtag AOC lies was trending. And I don't know, let me just take a shot in the dark here. Could that possibly be because AOC fucking lied? Hey, let's just fucking maybe. But she said report that for misinformation and get those people reported, those tweets removed, and that banned. So here's an elected official who's sworn to protect the Constitution, which guarantees free speech, by the way. Matter of fact, you don't even have to read too far into it. It's right up there on number fucking 1. And because she doesn't like what people are saying about her dramatics, and she's still an emotional basket case over what happened. I could tell when she calls it trauma. I'm not doubting her, but here's the thing. anything could be Trump. Like you could say different things are traumatic to different people. I used to have a job where I took dead people down to a morgue all day. To some people, that would be traumatic. To me, it was another day at work. To some people, if they saw a dead person, I would see 4 or 5 a day. You know, that wasn't traumatic to me. I don't wake up in the middle of the night in cold sweats thinking about it. It might have a different effect on AOC. And I guarantee the reason it was traumatic for AOC, and by the way, baby, give me a call. If anyone has AOC's number, get her in touch with me. I swear to God, I'd be good to her. I don't want to make it public. I want to have a very private relationship with AOC. I want to make sure that me and her are together forever. And, you know, she wants to be a mom. I will give her some beautiful Italian babies. And I'm from the East Coast. She's from the East Coast. And I think we get along great. And I have the key to AOC's heart. I'm gonna tell you what it is. And I probably shouldn't be saying this because I shouldn't have other people knowing how to hook up with AOC if they're ever in the same room with her. But I'm going to tell you what it is. Whenever she starts talking, all you have to do is go, shh. That's it. That would win her over in a second. She would go, oh, I never have been spoken. Shh. But you can't talk to, shh. And she'd go, oh. And I go, shut up. Order a hamburger. What do you want? You want a beer? What do you want? Are you ordering food or not? Order food. Okay, order your food. Okay, great. Well, I just wanted to tell you the Green New Deal. Shh. Oh. Okay. And then if she keeps doing her thing, especially if she's around other people, you just go, Alex, your voice. You're shrill. That's all you have to do. No one has ever spoken to her like that. That's what I would do. And don't tell her that if you hook her up with me, because I'm sure there's somebody watching out there who could get in touch with her. Hey, probably whoever is running Amazon or Google now. Hey, Bezos, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, give me your number. I'm sure you guys are chatting on the phone like a bunch of sorority sisters. But that was the thing. Turn that on so I look like I have a chin. But that's the thing. She never thought it would come back to her, and I'm sure it traumatized her. I'm sure she was like, I can't believe they might kill me. They might kill me. And the reason she's thinking they might kill me is because everyone she's around would have no problem. No problem. And we've seen it. It's not like a hypothetical, like they go, well, hypothetically, if Trump says this, it could inspire people to say that. No, this isn't a hypothetical. This is real. Trump supporters have been killed in the streets. No further to that sentence. Trump supporters have been killed in the streets. They've done nothing. They've said nothing. It didn't affect them. And people like AOC, just her little democratic socialist, I'm a Marxist commie. That makes me smart because they're so dumb they think communism actually fucking works. People like her, people like AOC, they think this far in front of their face. And that's why it's like when they go, we have to do this to impeach the president for every reason. They don't understand that, yeah. And then when you're not in power anymore, what do you think is going to happen back to you? You think that the other side isn't going to go, well, let's impeach them? AOC, it's the same thing. She told people for a year, over a year actually, because Black Lives Matter has been around a lot longer. But at least for a year, she told people to riot. In one way or the other. She didn't say the words riot. She said, go and have another peaceful protest, everybody. And then cities would be on fire. By the way, $2.2 billion worth of damage was done with all those riots. She tells people to go out, have a good time. Peacefully protest. Go ahead. Go do it. And then they do it. They burn shit down. She goes, that was peaceful. And people are dead in the streets. Trump supporters are dead. And sometimes not even a Trump supporter, just a business owner, a local guy in the community like David Dorn. You know, good people, fathers, grandfathers, mothers, sisters, daughters, sons, they're fucking dead because at the hands of Black Lives Matter. My parents believe CNN over me. That is, and it's true. I've told people that, and I have a book coming out, by the way, And in the book, I actually say being a Trump supporter is like being haunted by demons. Like, if you were legit haunted by demons, who would believe you? Like, if you went to work the next day and said, I didn't get any sleep, I'm so sorry, demons are haunting my home right now, they would go, demons. Right. And you go, no, for real, there are demons. I see black shadow creatures, and they're attacking me every time I close my eyes, and it's really annoying, and I think they might drag me to hell. And they go, sure. That's being a Trump supporter now. You go, yeah, I can't get on my social media anymore because Antifa harassed me. They found out who I was because they heard I, worked with Milo or worked with Gavin or, wrote an article or I got on TV and did a thing. They found out what my name is. They put me in one of their little message rooms, and then they just mass reported every post until my account was gone, and there's no recourse for that. And they just go, sure. Antifa, and I always, this is the number one thing I hear, Jimmy Z. I always hear, you had to have done something. That is the most annoying fucking sound in the world to me because I know that I didn't do anything. Like, I have the screen grabs and whatever, and this is why I was deleted on this day. The last time I was removed from anything was I was removed from Instagram. And what do you think I posted on Instagram that got me removed? I posted 2 words. 2 clean words, no swearing. 2 words. Hunter Biden. I just wanted to see what would happen. And all my accounts were taken down 2 hours later. And I hadn't posted for like 2 weeks. And then when the Hunter Biden story broke, I just wrote Hunter Biden, #say his name, and posted that as a post. 2 hours later, all my accounts were taken down. And I was like, no. Like, and it's not like I've been warned a million times. This is a pretty fresh account. Yeah, all my shit was gone. And when you tell people that, when you go, I don't have an Instagram anymore, and they go, why? And they go, I was removed for being a dangerous conspiracy person. And they go, well, what did you say? I go, all I said was Hunter Biden. I just said Hunter Biden, #say his name. That's all I said. And they went, yeah, that couldn't have possibly happened. And I went, it did. It did. Because the AOCs of the world are rooting for it. Right? And, it is what it is. And we all know this. If you live in the world that I live in a world of news and politics and left and right, and it's not really even left and right. It's outsiders and establishment. And if you're an outsider like myself, and you are trying to bust into the establishment one way or the other and tussle their hair a little bit, you have a lot of people who want to be the establishment. Like, for example, communism isn't the establishment right now, but they really, really want to be. They want to kiss Joe Biden's ass and do whatever, because at the end of the day, anytime somebody says, I'm not communist, I'm socialist or something like that, ask them this question. I promise you this works. Ask them this question, go, what communist policy do you disagree with? What's the difference between you and a communist? What communist policy do you disagree with? Ask your progressive friends who tell you they're a democratic socialist. Ask them, what socialist or Marxist thing do they really, really not like? Watch them not have a fucking answer. Because literally, if you said taxes, how much taxes do you want? Do you want to tax everyone at 100% and just let the government decide what you could have? Sure, sounds good. Oh, yeah, you work and you eat, and everyone gets everything equal. And it's like they don't even understand what the word equal means. Equal doesn't mean every outcome needs to be equal. It means that you have an equal starting line under the law. That's all it means. So, yes, if your grandfather was rich and you inherited a bunch of money from your grandfather because he spent his money wisely and saved it and was a good businessman, you get that money. That's what it's still equal. Just because your dad had the same opportunities and he fucked it up and didn't leave you any cash doesn't mean, well, it's not equal. It's not fair. It's like, yeah. So you know what that means? It means it's your job to be successful now. Learn from his mistakes, do the opposite of what your dad who sucked at business did, and come up with your own path. That's what we want. And then they go, but what about for black people, Chinese people, Latin people, gay people, women? And it's like, for everyone. Blanket. We want it for everyone. I don't care. If you have a good idea and a good whatever, then God bless you and go on and succeed. I think it's wonderful. Hold on. Jimmy Z. Yeah. 100%, dude. No, but the AOCs of the world want to be the ones in charge. When they say we hate Trump, he's an authoritarian, they're not hating him because he's an authoritarian. They're hating him because they wish they were the authoritarian. And that was the problem on the day of the Capitol Hill riots. She realized that the crowd turned on her, that this crowd wouldn't be cheering her and touching her like she was the fucking Khaleesi. She realized that this crowd in particular really didn't like her. And if they happened to figure out where she was, if they saw her, if they somehow overpowered everyone in DC and won and got to her, she would have been in trouble. I don't want to see any elected official get assaulted. I don't want to see any elected official get harassed, to be honest with you. But if that elected official is telling other people it's okay for you to go ahead and harass other people, and hey, if you're uncomfortable, that's just the way it is, Buster Brown, like you're so badass. Wait, by the way, when did all these progressives, particularly young progressive women, they all turn into like Rambo when somebody has like a legit complaint, like, you know, there was a mob outside. They had to hide the president in a bunker. Oh, poor president. Had to hide in the bunker, hiding like a scared little boy. And then like 3 buildings over from her, they go, yeah, there's some bullshit. Some people are breaking windows at the Capitol. And she goes, my life is over. And then how do you switch that quick and not see it? Like, it's zero fucking self-awareness. Zero. There is no self-awareness in these fucking people, and it drives me goddamn nuts because they don't go, hey, weren't we just like making fun of the president for hiding in a bunker? He's the president. He was being protected in a bunker because people were outside the White House. But you liked those people. So then I don't know. What did they want Trump to do? Did they want him to stand in open the door to the White House and the whole crowd would go, and then he would tell the Secret Service, they go to grab his arm and he goes, no, I'm going into the crowd. And then he just walks in like a Christ pose and they all just silently maul him and rip him apart. And he just goes, yes, I'll take it because I deserve it. I'm a bad person. I was a bad president. And they rip him apart like a zombie movie. And then everyone just goes, yay. And then they go, well, who do we make president now? And they go, Che Guevara. And they go, well, he's dead. Whatever. Put Che Guevara's corpse in the Oval Office and we could just suck its dick all fucking day. Is that their like, what do you think? Play out in your head. If a bunch of people surround the White House, what do you think the president should have fucking done? Because at the end of the day, that's what they were rooting for. They were rooting for, like, if we could just get him. And then their whole thing, it's literally like the fucking crazy French Revolution shit. It's literally like, well, we stormed the Bastille and we're going to get Trump or get Rand Paul or get any of these other MAGA people. And if you are caught even for a second defending it, and their justification will just be like, they're a Nazi. So that way you're not arguing about the violence. Now you have to argue of whether or not you're a Nazi. And you go, I'm not a Nazi. And then somebody else comes up and goes, well, why would they call you a Nazi if you're not a Nazi? You go, because they're fucking nuts. And they go, oh, well, but they said you're a Nazi. I want to be careful here because I don't want to be associated with Nazis. And I go, I don't want to be fucking associated with Nazis either. I don't want anything to do with fucking Nazis. Holy fucking shit. These goddamn people. So anyway, I'm going to wind it down, but I just wanted to point that out, and it made me break my COVID silence that I was hysterical today, reading all her comments and going, oh my God, she's a sociopath. There's no two ways about it. She's a nightmare. By the way, if I was dating her, she would be a fucking nightmare of a human being to be with, because she would just be emotional and hysterical and doing this with her hands a lot and just a total fucking wreck of a person. I will bet you anything. I'll bet you $1 million that in private she's even worse. She's the most emotional, just like, I just thought that you would be thinking of me today. And it's like, oh, Jesus, here we go again. And it's like, oh, I want to watch this thing on Netflix. Like, you never let me pick the movie. And it's like, oh, motherfucker, really? But yeah, she's a total sociopath. It's the only explanation, that she doesn't see how what she perpetuates on other people will come back to her. And when it does come back to her, then it's totally legit. It's an insurrection. Oh, and by the way, the other hilarious thing with all the fucking progressives is, did you notice they found their newfound love for the Constitution when that happened? They're subverting the Constitution. It's like, well, they're idiots, but the people who are talking against the hearing are saying, we just want you to see the evidence of possible inconsistencies. And they go, subverting our beloved Constitution. They came into the Capitol building. It's like, I don't know. None of these progressives ever gave two shits about a government building before. They also they wiped their ass with the Constitution, which, by the way, I think is the greatest fucking political document ever written, but they wiped their ass with it. They sit there and go, no, that Constitution is old. Guns, ooh, that's terrible. We should only give guns to AOC for some reason and Joe Biden. And they don't see how that could possibly be a thing that fucks everything up. But for all these people to see that this way, and AOC she's just patient zero in my mind, to not understand, or to maybe, and that's my question, did she fleetingly think, I fucked this up. They're going to kill me after all the things I said and all the things I was secretly rooting for. If they could read my mind, they know that I want all of them fucking gone. And oh, they're coming right now down the hall, and I'm never going to be a mother. I'm going to die. And it's like, yeah, and I feel horrible for you on a human level, but on a practical level, go fuck yourself, AOC. And with that, I have nothing to plug. I hope you were entertained for a little while. My name is Paul, and take care.